Hello guys, and welcome to this breakdown. Let me show you what we are gonna take a look at. So this scene was created 100% inside of Fusion, except for the model, which was downloaded from TurboSquid, and the model itself is provided with some useful maps, like the bump map, the diffuse map, a glow map, normal map, and a specular one. So let me show you from the beginning. So after I imported my FBX inside of Fusion, I set up a small animation. Let me show you the animation. Let's move on a different angle. So as you can see, it's an easy animation. The ship is moving and the camera is moving. Let me see if I can show you any better. And let's have a look from inside the camera. Then after I set up this little animation, I started my compositing using passes. So the first pass was actually the diffuse, and I simply put my diffuse map inside of a blend material on which I set the intensity and exponent to 0, because we don't want any specular in this pass, and I added some lights to make it look as I want it. So here is my render version. The second pass is the ambient occlusion, and I set my render to output the Z and the normals. Let me show you. Here is my Z, and here are my normals. Okay, so I rendered this in double resolution, and the reason why is because when you're dealing with ambient occlusion, most of the time you have some jagged edges like this, and jagged edges like this. To get rid of this one, I used my edge extend macro and a matte control using the original alpha, and so I got rid of that jagginess. For this I used the double resolution trick, so that when you scale the whole thing down, you get an anti-aliased result. So here is the result of my diffuse pass and the ambient occlusion on top of it, multiplied of course. The next one is the specular pass, and I used the specular map, and to make it work in Fusion I used a Lumac here to provide an alpha, and piped into a Cook Torrents node, and I used this bump map into my bump map node, and as you can see, this is our bump. And I also used this fast noise in the specular color material of the Cook Torrents, but let me show you the result on the ship, because here you can see almost nothing. So this is our result for the specular, and I rendered this one and used a brightness contrast to add some gain, and then added on top of the previous passes. Then the next pass was the reflection, and I used this HDRI image, darkened and blurred, into a sphere map, into a reflect material, and I also used the bump map again. Even in this pass, the best thing is to show you on the ship itself. Let me... In space there's not much to reflect anyway, so I just wanted it very, very subtle. And here is the rendered version through a color corrector in which I added some gain and some tint. And here is the result. Let me show you without a reflection and with the reflections. I think it adds some depth to it. And then I added a brightness contrast because I wanted the whole scene to be a little bit deeper, a little bit darker. So the next is the glow pass. I used the glow map simply straight as an input for the replace material. And let's go back to the camera. And here is my render. And on this one I added another brightness contrast to add some gain and a fast expo glow to add some glow to our lights. You can get fast expo glow on reactor. And the next one is a nice one. Let me show you. I placed the spotlights where the red lights are on the ship, and I rendered this one out. Also, I rendered this one on double resolution and scaled down again. Before and after. Next we have the engines, and the engines are made with volume fogs, and the scene for this pass is pretty easy. It's just a very big sphere, radius 50, and I just rendered out the RGBA and the warp position pass. I needed the warp position pass in order to the volume fog to work, and here are my volume fogs. And then I used the brightness contrast to make them brighter, a soft glow, and I needed to matte the ship back, but doing so, let me show you this issue. Doing so, I ended up with this situation. Maybe I did something wrong in this case, but anyway, I solved this issue using a custom tool. And inside the custom tool, if I move into the channel tab, I just use the 3 channels to make an alpha, and that's what I wanted. And then I added a fast expo glow on top again. As you can see, I blended it out because I didn't want it to be too bright, because I added one last fast expo glow at the end. And now it's time for our background. I used this beautiful picture that I downloaded from the internet. I don't remember actually where I did so. Brightness contrast, sphere map, and this is our. And then I have this sphere. Yeah, let me zoom in, and I used this little setup of fast noises to generate a displace map, and this is how it looks. And then this material here, using this Mercury map and this HDR image as reflection to get to this result here. And then this one goes into our replicate 3D, which was then fed into our merge with a copy of the lights from the scene. And as you can see, this is what we end up with. So this is all going together. And then I used Blackmagic to match my background to my ship. I rendered this out in a ProRes, and I think it's time to add some more 2D magic. The first thing that I did was actually using my heat distortion macro. So as you can see, I have some heat distortion here on the engine, and then I used a background to add some direction of the light, because as you can see, we have this reflection without any direction of the light. I think it's pretty strange. So with this halo here, this one means that we have light coming from the top, and then I found this lens flare. I transformed it and crop it to get this result. Again, having the light coming from the same direction. Then there is this this is something that I'm gonna show you, but I cannot show you actually in very much detail, because it's something that I'm working on with my friend Vito from Confusion. I just wanted to add some lens flare elements, and let me show you what we have here. One last thing that I did was using film convert nitrate, and I choose these black and white film stock emulation, and I merged this one on top using the luminosity mode. And let me show you. I think this one looks really nice. A touch of brightness contrast, and at the end I used this Twitch node, which is a macro that I created, which I think will be on Reactor very soon. I'm gonna submit this one in the next few days, and so we have our result. So guys, I think this is a wrap for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.